December 19th. Beekeeping, you take it day by day, but you plan for the future. And I used acylic acid this year because proformic acid didn't work last year. Didn't kill any varroa mites. And my colonies had virosis through the months of September, October, and beginning of November until I used acylic acid. So my colonies last winter were small. And this year, because the acylic acid does not kill the varroa mites in the cat brood, it took me a while to get the varroa mites out. And during that whole time, they suffered from virosis. During the summer, when it's hot, it's hard to do acylic acid treatment because the bees are bearding on the front of the hives. So these colonies here in the window, the ones in the dark hives, originally during fall, when they were large colonies, but for some reason they had issues. There's 5 here. And I keep an eye on them. Try to give them more bees before they get too small. I want them to restart in February. I want the queen to start laying. So the last couple days I've been taking bees out of my larger colonies here. I just don't want you to have the impression that I'm having a hard time with my bees. You got to keep in mind, I don't buy queens anymore. I don't buy packages. I don't buy nukes. I breed my own queens all summer long, all through summer. May, June, July, August, September. So a lot of the smallest colonies, they go in the window. They go in the window because they're not large enough to winter outside. And any colony that has issues during the winter, and if I have room, I put them in the window. And if I don't have room, then I just bring them in and out all the time. Now, the bee industry is a racket. Just take, for instance, this catalog from Better Bee. Half of it's filled with products that you wouldn't normally have in here if we didn't have issues with varroa mites. And it's not just varroa mites and virosis. It's the chemicals and the pollen that's killing our bees. And the bee industry is a racket because you get the big commercial beekeepers that go out in California and they pollinate those almonds and they make money doing that. And afterwards the bees are sick because it's a monoculture and there's chemicals on those almond flowers. So you got sick bees. So what do? They bring them to another location later that year and they vacuum them up, put them in packages along with the old queens. I do not believe packages contain new queens. Maybe some do, but there's a lot of them that have old queens. And they will sell you an old queen with sick bees. And then when your bees die during the summer, they blame it on the beekeeper. The beekeeper's inexperienced. I've heard it many times. When I tried foliage Russian bees, they were no good. And people told me on the internet, from my videos that I posted, that I was inexperienced, I didn't know what I was doing, I should leave beekeeping to the professionals. Okay, it's 3 years later. Who's doing a better job? Check out my videos. I have more colonies now than I've ever had the 8 years I've had bees, and none of these colonies came from anybody else. I've created all of them. And putting these bees in here during the day is working. You know, I scoop up bees on the floor. Some of them die, but the majority of them, they go back into the cluster. And there's 3 ways I can check. You know how cats and dogs chase light? And people post videos on YouTube about that. It's so cute. Bees do the same thing. If I have a bee on the floor and I want it to go to a certain way, I just move the light that way. Same thing here. I put the light here. Of course, now I'm holding this camera phone, and I can open up this hole here, and the bees will go over here, and I can take a look in there, or I can look through the screen. And then if I can't see over here, I just pull this out, and with this light in there, I can pull this piece of wood out, and I can see in there. So I can pretty much cover the whole hive, the whole deep. Right now I have, because the acetic acid leaves a residue, I have a queen excluder in the bottom there. So I used to be able to look up in there and see the bees, but with that queen excluder in there, that's really made it difficult for me to see the bottom. But I can see the top. So I'm trying not to have any losses this winter. I have 94 colonies now. My goal is to have 94 colonies come March and April, and we'll just see if I can do it. If I do it, or if I don't do it, I'm going to post a video on YouTube. And these colonies here in the window, see, when it warms up, I just pull the blankets off. I don't move them in and out like I do the others. And those are my colonies that are large enough to winter outside. And I keep an eye on them. If they were to happen to shrink, I bring them in. It's possible I could have every colony out there in here. We don't know, because I don't know what the weather's going to be like. I don't know if the virosis took a toll on them. I keep an eye on them. They're not dying like they have previous years when I used Formic Pro formic acid. So hopefully it'll be just fine. Last winter was a good winter. We had a lot of cleansing flights, and I'm hoping the same this winter. I want the bees to have cleansing flights at least once a month. That helps them out. And I do not leave these bees in here when it's warm outside. I will hand truck them out, make sure they get a cleansing flight, and I put them back in the same location they were when last time they were out there. Okay, I just want to let you know. Take it day by day, plan for the future. Okay, thank you.